I thought for this time I'd review my house, which is, as you can see, built behind here. There's a lot to see, so I'm going to try and crack on and get it done. So I've started over this side of the property as such, because I wanted to show this. So this bit here, this hill used to stretch across this area, and it was where I used to stand and take screenshots, looking out across the land and was taking progress pictures of it. The hill. So there was a hill that stretched across this area. Me and MrDeagles took the hill down, and we built this. So this is a kind of sea turtle sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, habitat. They've all got different names, such as Turtle Jeff, Turtle Tony, hopefully. Oh, why am I hovering over ones that don't have? Most of them are named. Which one's that? Ellen. There's one called Shelley somewhere, and there's also a mix of tropical fish within it. It's all lit up, and it all lights up overnight. And obviously there's kelp and seagrass that sort of used to breed them and then sell the eggs in the shop. And then, as you can see, there's the stuff there. So this is part. There used to be a cactus farm just behind this sugar cane, and then obviously there's a cocoa bean farm there, melons, pumpkins, and then a very big wheat farm. Hopefully this isn't lagging too much. I say that all the time. I've got a new computer on order, but obviously because of all the COVID stuff that's going on, it's taken a little while to be built. So discovered, MrDeagles started selling concrete in the shop. MrDeagles started selling concrete in the shop, and we found that red dye can be made by beetroot. So as this produces 3 stacks of 64 beetroot, which obviously can be turned into red dye. One thing about that. What I'll aim to do is I'll try to post the pictures as the area got built, probably on an Imgur, I guess that is their Imgur album, and sort of probably date them, because it does show how this was all a hill that got taken down. And here used to be the bee farm before it got moved in the beehive video, and this little hut here, although it didn't look like this, this is where actually my very first little hut was built, on the edge of all the hills, if you could believe it. And then obviously there's some remnants of when the bees used to be here. So this grey structure here is the concrete factory, basically. This is where we produce the concrete powder into concrete. As you can see, this was the original way of dropping it down. This was concrete, but then we kept breaking it, so it got changed into wool, as wool is harder to break than concrete, like so. And then obviously the pistons get turned on, like so. Hopefully, there we go. And then here, obviously on the server there are gravel and sand pit mines. So I created a hopper system that feeds it into here. So there should be always gravel and sand constantly filled up. So MrDeagles has always got concrete. As you can see, this is where it all gets stored before it goes into the shop. And then over this side would be the colours, the dyes and that. And then what she did was she also created a load of signs at the back that tell sort of what dye makes what wool. And then there's a few I was going to say factories. There's a few furnaces to produce the green dye, because obviously you need the cactus to make it into green dye, and then you need the green dye for various other dyes as well. And as it's gone night time, I guess we'll start with the house. So this design, it's very similar to the previous builds. It's a different layout inside. And this one actually conforms. It goes straight up to 16 blocks high, which is the build on the server. And when it reaches the top layers, I'm pointing at my screen as if you can see it. I don't know why I'm pointing at my screen, but I'll try and add an arrow. If I remember to edit this arrow in and don't just skip past it. Here it sort of goes to half. There's steps, and then it goes into half slabs, and then the half slabs take it up to 16 blocks high. This is different from other builds, as this one features 3 windows in the attic instead of 2, and some bells on the front. Yeah, and then obviously over here, this is where the animals were stored. We used to have sheep and cows were in the same pen. It was just halved off in the middle, and then I want to say the pigs were somewhere here, and then over here are chickens, obviously with a hopper system, so the eggs go straight down. This was quite nice. MrDeagles found a load of Mrs. Deagle found a load of coral and built this, and I thought it was quite nice, different. Just adds a bit of colour to what was just a riverbed, really. And obviously there's a load of sea pickles around. Yeah, I think in a way she did quite a nice little job with it. And now this was a different design from the other builds as well. There's 2 balconies, one for the attic, one for the upstairs, one for the main floor, and then one for the basement. The first level of the basement, so you can kind of see in. But instead of looking through the window, let's go on in. So as always with all my builds, the wall on the left is built for the lounge, because it's usually where the dogs go. Over here we do have mine and MrDeagle's player heads, which we were able to obtain, built with a little shelf unit in the corner. And then this side, obviously there's some trapdoors with the plant pots. And then this was the KFP 2020 anniversary golden nugget that you could buy, hopefully, if I can figure out how to link it, in this video. And then in here we've got, well, obviously they always do the player maps. So as you can see, there's the farms. Oh well, that still shows where the cactuses were there. Where's that? I haven't updated that. There you go. And there's obviously the turtle farm. The little hut, the sheep. That still shows the fence in the middle between the sheep and the cows. Concrete farm, the house. There's where the pigs got moved. See, none of this has been updated. And there's the new cow farm. There we go. Busy updating it all now. Right, so let's carry on and explore. So this is obviously the lounge with a load of dogs. Some of these are MrDeagle's. That one's obviously is mine. And we've got Jeff the cow. Yeah, that one. There's one of hers, Frosty. Shade, Zara, Bongo, Henley. Yeah, those are all hers. Rolo. So I've only got 3 and a cow. See, the problem is the cow pushes them all into the corners, hence why they're all sat in the corners. And there you go. Just a little throwback date. The 4th of what's that? March. 4th of March. TriStorm gave me this cake, and it's remained uneaten. So if we go upstairs, because there's not too much to see upstairs. There's some more player heads of me. A little special one of MrDeagles. The back balcony that looks out onto the back of the back, and then the upstairs, which really is just the 3 windows that look out to the front. There's not much to see, just open. All my builds, yeah, I don't know why that's stripped. All my builds kind of follow the same. Anyway, this is where it's slightly different. This is now the basement. As you can see, I did a pattern on this one of dark oak and plain oak that sort of all correlate. We've got a little furnace room here with four furnaces, and an anvil, and then spare anvils underneath, and then a handy little bit here to destroy anything. Oh, I forgot about this. At the front of the house, there is a... Is there a chest? Anyway, there's a chest. No, there's just a hopper. There's a single hopper that leads to this compost, and then it just produces, obviously, bone meal. It's just handy to have, as obviously white bone meal produces white bone meal produces white dye. Yeah, and obviously there's all chests that kind of give hint, like this one contains meat, this one contains not meat, and then there's a few other one like wood's chest, cocoa bean chest, which I gave a load to Chalky, DJ Talk Chalky. Now the cobblestone chest, the mud and obviously the coal are different, and I'll explain that in a minute. And now this is where all the chicken hoppers come to with the eggs, because I was selling eggs in my store, and someone bought them, and then I haven't sold any more since. I haven't checked, but then not many people have been playing on the server. Anyway, so if we go downstairs to the second level of the basement, actually this one is very different, as it's sort of a lighter, it's birchwood and normal oak, and as you can see, this is where the coal, mud and cobblestone chests come down to, and they're all stacked. And then this side is where all the wool for the builds that I was creating on the square is kept for the builds. And then around here, that's just obviously there's some duck banners. There's a duck shield that I made. It's just that's random stuff I found on my travels. Now this might be surprised. Was stuff I was building for the Halloween build. I grew a ton of moss, or vines even, and then created this mossy bricks. And obviously there's cracked bricks as well, there's cobweb, there's vines. And then I even created a Santa head, because I was going to sell Santa heads when it came to Christmas. But obviously it didn't happen. All the server will be reset before Halloween, let alone Christmas. And now this is where I was keeping, obviously there's the spare KFP 2020 anniversary ones. There's some sandstone. These are the spare YouTube banner maps that featured in this video, if I've hopefully figured out how to link it. And now this, and this was the body of KFP, and that was the body of Perrin. I had to give the heads up, but this was the Jesus head that was made for the Easter time. And then obviously here was where I was growing the vines. As you see, the slight rise in the roof, and the shears on the floor. And then it's obviously, as I don't need the vines anymore, it's been replaced with nether related items. And then here is just a load of furnaces, a smoker, because I found a smoker while I was exploring, and I was like, that's really different. And then over here was where I was producing the nether bricks, which I'll get onto. And then obviously it was just a simple simple setup with hoppers. Coal goes in the back, shulkers on the top, and it all feeds down. Now down here is where I grow. Down here is where I grow all my netherwort. And it produces quite a lot, and as you can see, I've kind of just stopped. And now this side is my blue screen blue screen this side and green screen that side, where obviously this is where in my thumbnails I can take pictures of the players, obviously without any armour. And so if I do that now, and that'll probably be the picture of the ped. God, that's San Andreas talking. Of the player in the chat. In the chat on the thumbnail. God, it's not even 8 in the morning yet, and I'm already fumbling over me words. Right, now the last thing to see inside, I've nearly wasted a whole day of sun, is this here. Let's just get rid of this guy. God damn it. So obviously that's why I put an iron door on it, and I made it all nether brick, and it just leads down to the nether portal. That's all this really is. It's all lit up by beacons. It's all lit up by lanterns. Yeah, that's just a simple build really. It's just to make it look a bit different. I want to say there we go. So we come to the back of the house now. Obviously fences there to stop the zombies coming in. And then here is the bee house, which obviously I won't really go into too much because there was a whole video on it. This is the cactus farm that I made so MrDeagles can have a load of green dye. And I want to say this produces 2.5 stacks of 2.5 stacks of green dye, or obviously cactus that can be turned into green dye. This is where the cows are now, in an L-shaped pen with the pigs next to them. And this is so I came on the server one morning, and the owner DW had built this path through my land, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll just have this path and a bridge now. And then as my plot got extended over time, I decided to build this, which is on the edge of the protection. Well, not sort of the edge is here, but it obviously runs that way. A giant cow's head, because why not? And it's full 3D, and you can see it on the life map. Actually, it stands out quite well on the life map. I was planning to replant trees around it, but I never got to it. Right, well, hopefully you've enjoyed the tour of inside my house. Hopefully it wasn't too slapdash. I just know there was quite a lot to see and quite a lot to do. Hopefully I'm recording this on the 20th of June, which gives me plenty of time to get it set up for next Thursday and create the album with the pictures on showing how the property got built throughout the time. Because admittedly, when I first started building it, I obviously had a tree farm, and then when DW put the path through the actual land as such, I then kind of thought, oh, I should actually build the house. And obviously the rest is history. It just got expanded and expanded over time. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed it. So hopefully it wasn't too slapdash. And I'll hopefully it wasn't too laggy. But I know there's not too much I can do about that. And there's a donkey right there, just staring. Right. See, I'll say that, and then I'll forget to edit the zoom in. Although I've now said it, I'll edit the zoom in. Right, anyway, I'm going to end the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next recording.